I was very new to blue water cruising. Done a bit of sailing before, but this is very much a new learning experience for myself and my young family. And Fiji ended up being a really great place to figure it all out. And it was probably one of the best decisions we made. It's honestly, it's paradise. It never feels busy like it would in the Caribbean or the Mediterranean. Because it's a lighter boat, it behaves in waves extremely well. So if you do have family that gets seasick, it's a great option. And it's quick too, right? Like, so our passages to New Zealand are 6 days or less.
Join us as we speak with Daniel, owner of Outremer 51 Archer, as he explains why Fiji is an absolutely brilliant location to begin cruising the South Pacific Islands for first-time cruisers. We catch up with Daniel from on board his boat in Muscat Cove.
Cool. Daniel, good to see you after a
Likewise.
couple of years from when you were in Sydney.
Yeah,
So,
it's been a great few years.
yeah. So you picked up the Outremer 51 Archer, what was it, 2 years ago now? Tell us what you've done.
3 years
3
ago.
years.
If you remember, just coming out of COVID and places were just opening up, and by sheer luck, I guess I would say, Fiji was one of the first ones to open, and first Pacific Island nations to open, and so we decided to head up to Fiji, and it was probably one of the best decisions we made. I don't know if you remember, I was very new to blue water cruising. Done a bit of sailing before, but this is very much a new learning experience for myself and my young family. And Fiji ended up being a really great place to figure it all out. It's honestly, it's paradise. It's a big open lagoon, lots of places or anchorages to see. They're well protected, with a good chart, and combine that with some satellite images. It's very safe to navigate around here, and there's endless options. It never feels busy like it would in the Caribbean or the Mediterranean. It's there's lots of wide open space to explore.
Yeah, awesome. So when you originally bought the boat through us, it's obviously quite a famous boat, done a lot of cruising with another family. So it's quite a family boat, it seems, Archer.
Yeah.
And so you had a delivery crew help you get it to Fiji originally, and then I think you ended up in New Zealand for a while and then back again.
Yeah, we left Fiji after a season here, and then we took it down to New Zealand, spent some sailing time down there. We had to get away from the cyclones, but we ended up having 2 cyclones that summer. It was quite a wet one. And then to Tonga and back to Fiji again the next season. Did some off-season cruising in Fiji. That time we decided to stay in Fiji through the off-season, which is highly underrated. Like the off-season cruising is amazing in Fiji. The winds are lighter. It's really quiet. And if a storm does pop up, there's a lot of safe places to take your vessel. And then we last season we headed off to Vanuatu, and we spent 3 months over there, and that exceeded our expectations as well. And it's basic. I would just, the best way I could describe it in one sentence is Fiji, like perhaps 50 years ago. They believe in black magic. It's culturally very rich, and it's one of the most fascinating countries I've ever seen. I've done quite a lot of traveling in my lifetime, but all roads seem to lead back to Fiji, and we left Vanuatu and came back here. Done some more off-season cruising, and yeah, I've just been really enjoying the area, and Fiji is just also very convenient for me to get to, or in a family, just because we have direct flights from Vancouver, and it's just easy. It's really easy cruising in Fiji, because if you need parts or you need tradespeople, there's decent tradespeople here, and
Right.
And the food's easy to get if you want comfort food. It's just really well set up for cruising.
So your family fly in for a period of time, do some cruising, then fly out again, and you can come and go a little bit.
exactly. We've done a cumulative of about 6 months of cruising each year, broken up into a couple of different cruises. Usually we do a 2 month cruise and then a 4 month cruise at some point throughout the year. And this has been a great family boat. You know, we love the enclosed cockpit, and it's probably one of the best decisions we've ever made, I would say, is to have the family out here, and they've grown a lot. We find that too, like when we go back home, the kids are very engaged, especially with older people or adults as well. You know, they just have no problem going up and having a meaningful conversation with an adult, and it's probably one of the biggest differences we notice from kids who spend a bit of their lives on a boat. Age doesn't really mean anything because you know, it's everybody's so receptive and having to have conversations with kids, with the locals and everything.
Yeah, it's something someone said to me once, that you go away cruising on a sabbatical or mini sabbatical, and the world carries on. You think you're missing out. You go back, nothing's really changed that much, but you've had this amazing life experience.
Yeah.
Which must be even more so for the kids. Right?
Yeah. I mean, our son. I mean, he's 7, just turned 7. So you know, he spent almost a third of his life on Archer. So he's very much connected to this boat, and you know, the family's gonna be extremely sad to let Archer go.
Yeah, cool. So let's just go back before we get onto Fiji itself. So you came, as you mentioned earlier, that your experience was, you know, you weren't a round the world yachtsman or anything when you bought the boat. So how have you, beyond doing the initial delivery to Fiji, which you covered some miles in that, but what about after that? Have you had other assistants to do passages? How have you tackled that?
Yeah, so my wife doesn't, she's not a sailor, so she was very, very green. And when we got to Fiji, the delivery captain jumped off, and we were left with the boat to figure everything out. You know, how to figure out anchoring, because we hadn't anchored obviously on passage. So it was there's a lot of learning, and we had one person join us for the first couple of weeks while Crystal and I figured out a rhythm. That way, one person could monitor the kids while I figure out the boat, or vice versa. And so we did a couple of weeks with someone else on board, just to hang out. So we always had one person on the kids and 2 people on the boat. And then we had another gentleman join us for, I think, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks after that as well. We went to a more remote area of the Lao group. And then after that, we were very confident. We'd also joined up with the Island Cruising New Zealand Pacific Rally, which I highly, highly recommend. There's an incredible amount of resources, and Vicky Moore runs it. She's top notch. Like, if you need anything, they're so responsive, and it's a very well connected organization. Everybody's there's quite a few new sailors on there as well, but there's also experienced people in that group, and so there's an abundance of information available to you through the channels that they have. So I recommend, if you're new to join with that rally, and they help with customs information and what you can import and what you can't, and even if you're an experienced sailor, it's a great group of people to be connected to up here. And you don't necessarily have to cruise with everybody. It's just once everybody gets here, if you're into diving, they tend to go to diving boats, tend to go to diving spots. If you're into surfing, the people who are into surfing, they'll stay in the kind of the areas where the waves are. And like us, we're a family, so we met up with a lot of other kid boats as well, and we traveled around with them, and that way the kids had a lot of social interaction too. So it's really cool. Great.
I think they've got rallies about to depart, heading your way very soon. Actually, we're sponsoring the Island Cruising Association, and there's barbecues in the Gold Coast and Opua as well soon. Perfect. So So yeah, we're really happy to be involved with that group, and yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's as you said, a great thing for new owners to get involved in, and you got that support network. So
Yeah,
that's a great tip. Um, so back to Fiji itself, where are you actually located with the boat right now?
I'm in Musket Cove at the moment. This is kind of the where most people's Fiji trips begin, and it's if anybody knows Fiji or been to Fiji, they've probably been to Musket Cove. It's pretty world renowned, very protected anchorage, and a lot of cruisers spend a lot of time. Some people come to Musket Cove and they spend the entire season here and don't even move. And just because it has great access to good snorkeling and surfing.
Mm. And it's a cruiser-friendly resort, right? I mean, they kind
Yeah.
of look after you there, and have got events, regattas, and things later on in the year.
Yep. Yeah, and it's close proximity to the Osawa Island group as well. So, if you're into the comforts of the resorts, you can really just go resort hopping all the way up there with Yasawas. A lot of them are cruiser friendly. Jump in there for sundowners and dinners, and even use the pools. And then if you want to get more off the beaten track, there's the Lao group. There's which is probably arguably not that I've seen a lot of Pacific, but it's arguably one of the most beautiful archipelagos in the Pacific, and a lot of people spend a lot of time at the island of Palanga, and which is arguably one of the most beautiful lagoons in the Pacific. And there's Kandavu as well, which is to the south of the mainland of Fiji, and it's another great destination to explore if you want to get off the beaten track a little bit more.
Mm. So someone coming in that buys Archer and wants to go cruising, where would you suggest their first trip be from where you are
Yeah, I
now?
would. Yeah, I would. I would probably do the Yasawas and explore those islands. The very top of the Yasawas is probably one of the nicest beaches we've ever seen in Fiji, and we actually just spent 2 weeks up there. So yeah, and Yasawas is, it's pretty accessible if you want people or guests or friends to come on board and then get off again. There's a ferry service that goes quite far up the Osawas as well, so you don't have to run them all the way back to the city if you
Mm.
want to
Right.
change guests. And if you run out of milk or you run out of some food as well, there are services as well that you can get that will actually run fresh produce up to you. They just put it on the ferry, and you can be well provisioned. So if you're not very good at provisioning or you forgot something, you've got access to that as well. So it's very easy to cruise in the Osawas. And then once you get your rhythm down, then you can go off the beaten track a little bit more. And I recommend trying to work your way to the east a little further and then south again down to the Lao group.
Yeah, fantastic. And so typically, I mean, you're saying you sail in the off season as well, but is there a
Mhm.
preferred time of the year you think is the best time to be cruising?
Yeah, so the everybody's cruising here between most people cruise here between May and October, and then I would say the peak of the peak cruising season would generally be June, July, August, and September.
Yeah, okay. And you can keep the boat on the hard if you want to, right? There are
Yeah,
locations. Yeah.
there's options. Yeah, Maui has a new travel lift that you can haul out there. I don't know if it can lift Archer, but Bunda Marina has a travel lift as well, and you can haul out there.
Yeah. And so some people keep the boats there on the hard through the summer months, the cyclone season.
Yeah, I've done that before. We've kept Archer on the hard for 5 months out of Bunda, and that worked really well.
And what do you do about insurance in the off season? Do you have insurance?
That's a great question. We did. We had insurance when we stored Archer. Yeah. So for insurance, we went with Pantanius, and found that they can insure us, but off season they wanted the boat to be not moving, basically a block down up on the hard. So if we are sailing in the off season, we just simply didn't insure it, and just play it safe. And we added quite a bit to Archer, including forward scanning sonar, and things like that to just make it more safe and just be extremely conservative in the off season.
Yeah. So let's talk about the boat real quick. So, I mean, a lot of people may have come across videos of the sailing family on YouTube and may know the boat from that. But tell us about some of the things you have done to the boat since then.
So we have put in a whole new B&G suite on Archer. That was one of the biggest things that we did. We did that in New Zealand. The common stuff like replacing seacocks and just general maintenance like that. We just replaced the trampoline. We put a new stack pack on it. New canvas over the helm station. We installed new rigging. I think I said new trampolines.
Yes.
And we just had it out of the water in Vunda for last week, and so we've just done the anti-foul prop speed, in full service of the sail drives, and it's ready to go.
Right. Excellent. So it's turnkey, ready to sail now.
Yeah.
Awesome. And why is this boat so attractive to families then? I mean, obviously you don't have to be a family to go cruising on this boat, but it certainly I know several families sailing on Outremer 51, so it does seem to be a nice platform.
It is, because it's a lighter boat. It behaves in waves extremely well. So if you do have family that gets seasick, it's a great option. And both at anchorage and at sea, it just performs really well in waves. And it's quick too, right? Like, so our passages to New Zealand are 6 days or less. So it's and twice we've done that where we were 24 hours later, we would have gotten to some uncomfortable weather. And we found that the forecasts here are extremely accurate up to about 6 days. So that's that really sweet spots where we can pick comfortable windows, and that's arguably the most important decision that you can make when you start your passage is what weather window you take. And so we've always found ourselves sailing into the known, and that's made a big difference to us actually on multiple occasions. So it's a very safe boat. And then of course this boat has the enclosed cockpit, and at the time our son couldn't swim, so we found that it was just overall more comfortable for us to have a child like that on board with the enclosed cockpit, and just made it a lot more comfortable.
Fantastic. And I think there is air conditioning for mains power, is there, on the boat?
Yeah, there is air conditioning. It consumes a lot of power, so we run the air conditioner if it's hooked up to shore power. Otherwise we just we don't turn it on. But it is on board. We've got loads of solar panel on board, and so we don't have a generator. We don't need a generator. We make lots of fresh water all the time, and it's a very, very comfortable boat for the family.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Daniel, thanks so much. A really insightful view on getting going from the South Pacific, Fiji being the launch pad. So I think a lot of our customers would like to be sitting right where you are now, preparing their next few months of cruising. So Archer is available for those out there shopping, and we can help you with some more information if you want to take a closer look. Thanks, Daniel, and chat to you soon.
All right, excellent. Thank you.